So thank you so much for having me again. I really appreciate it. It's a really great on sharing the webinar with great ladies I've met throughout the world. So it's always a pleasure. And today, without further ado, I will be talking about localization strategy and how you can actually score more profit using good localization strategy. So to begin with, I would just like to tell everyone what actually localization is. So localization is basically when you think about content, when you think about images, all of that, people just think like, oh, okay, so localization is just like translating from one language to another. Well, it's much more than that. And this is why a lot of brands fail, both big and small. For instance, this is something that happened with Starbucks. Like Starbucks wanted to open the coffee shops in Saudi Arabia, which is now a thriving force in e-commerce world. But they had to remove the mermaid and just like leave their basically crown in the waves because it was quite offensive showing a female figure on a logo. So this is something which is forced localization. Now, I don't want you to be forced to do anything. I want you to do it because you want to convey the same message to the audience in a new country, like Coca-Cola did. So this is one of my favorite localization campaigns. I think it's probably the most successful one in the history of localization. It was spread across 145 countries, and it was a share a code with their person and then random names. So the problem was that in China, it's really rude to call someone by their first name. They didn't want to change it into like last names, but what they did is they replaced Michelle, Latoya, Julia, all of that. They replaced it with work titles such as with a dentist or a mechanic or college student or teacher. So they kind of made it also feel personal while also still respecting that culture. So that was very nicely done, and they haven't had a flop in any of the countries, unlike a bunch of other localizations that have gone wrong. So localization, why it matters and what we're going to tackle is content, style, keywords, images, measurements, PPC strategy, packaging, and UGC. I'm not going to talk about all of that because I'll keep it short today, but I'm just going to talk about some of the most important things that all have to do with localization. So not only words on your listings, but also all these other things. Okay, so yeah, first one on the top is content or style. This is one of the examples we've done a couple of years ago. These were espresso glass cups. So the first bullet said cool, cooler, coolest. And when we did the translation to German, we had to change it to elegant und stilvoll, which means elegant and stylish, which basically shows the features of the product. So Germans really want to keep it simple, very strict, black and white, and show me the features of the product and show me why this is a superb product by emphasizing on the features of the product. Also, like the third bullet, so Americans like all this like emotional type of language, fluffy, salesy, and Germans hate it. So having the bullet say, just like that old chip in a bottle your granny had, we had to change it into basically just saying thermal isolated glass, which means that it won't burn your fingers and you can enjoy your coffee. So that's basically the two differences when you do regular translation, when you would not have that, when you would have word by word translation, and with localization, meaning that if you read this text translated word by word, it would sound off. And then regular buyer has like 6 tabs more open. They will just like go and browse like different tabs, and they'll probably close your listing because it does not resonate well with them and it does not convey the same message. When it comes to, let's say, comparing Mexican listings and Spanish listings in Spain, it is quite different. And if you sell in Spain and you kind of copy paste your Mexican listing, Spanish people don't like when they see a written Mexican dialect of Spanish. And it also makes them feel like they're buying from a company overseas, a distant company. And also, like if I'm, for instance, like browsing and surfing online, I want to buy something from a brand that feels like a local brand. I don't want to buy something from an overseas brand that doesn't really talk to me. Also, what you have to pay attention to is different measurements in Canada. So I know like in the US listings, a lot of people, I mean, everyone uses inches and ounces, but this is not the case in Canada. You would use metric system like we have in Europe. So you would have centimeters and meters, but also you can use Canadian French and backlinks. This is what a lot of people do. So when it comes to listings, you don't have to actually do any translations, but I always advise and having Canadian French keywords left in backends. So when it comes to content and style and like how you address the audience, like usually like the content, for instance, like this listing that we did, this is something that they had first. This brand is done in Germany, but they left it, the Color Club store, they left it in English. This was all in English, but then they changed this in the title, which was too long for it does not sound natural and it does not look great. And this content also is like not fantastic because it has visually doesn't look great, even though we can still keep caps lock in German, which we can't do in the US marketplace. And then if we were to compare the conversion rate after translating the listing from English to German and then from German to better German, you can see that the green line, how far it went. And this was done for each of the languages. So even though this listing was done in German, it was like word to word translation, but after being optimized, you can see all the spikes in like the percentages in the profit and in sales as well. When it comes to keywords, a lot of brands would just kind of copy paste whatever they're doing from the UK to the US or vice versa. But basically, like what you need to pay attention to is like the keyword results. So Mexican keywords will show up in US listings because of the Hispanic population. Do not copy paste them and sell in the UK because they would not be relevant in the UK because nobody searches for those. But what we've also noticed doing one of the kebab grill skewer products is a lot of Turkish keywords showed up in German listings because of the big Turkish population in the country. And then a lot of these are the German keywords, but then we had a lot of Adana, we had like a lot of Turkish keywords, other keywords that nobody else was ranked for. We had those in the listings and we use those in backend. So don't use it in front end, but use it in the backend. But a lot of times, if you think that the keyword written in your keyword list is a lot of mumbo jumbo, maybe it's a different language. And I think less than 1% of sellers actually take advantage of the keywords that are written in completely different language or even know what it means. So next time you come across this, make sure to put it in backend listings because this can definitely generate some sales for you as well. Talking about this, another great example, we have a seller selling baby diapers. So she was selling in US, baby diaper bag actually, and see she copy pasted her listing to the UK to sell baby diapers as well. But the problem here was that in the US, what's a diaper bag as the main search term, it's not called the same way in the UK. Because first of all, diapers in the UK, they are diapers for adults, not for kids. The kids' diapers we call nappies. And the main search term is changing bag or nappies. So it's not diaper bag. The orange keywords are localized, which means very specific for that marketplace, which are baby shower gifts, all these Spanish keywords, which I already mentioned, and diaper bag with changing station. If this is compared to the UK keyword list, you will see that these localized keywords are nowhere to be found. First of all, because there are no baby changing stations in the UK. You would have pram bag, nappy changing bag. So this will be everything you'll be missing out on because you'll be copying this keyword list and not making it relevant for a new UK marketplace. Also, of course, what we found is this bebek asialari. These are Turkish keywords in the UK marketplace. And we also found the Polish ones. So what is really interesting is that this has 400 search volume. This one has 658 search volume, which is not a lot compared to 5,000, but is a lot when compared that you are not competing with anyone for these search terms. Non-British population in the UK is this. So keep this in mind when doing the keyword research and finding a word you don't understand. This is a very, very often what happens, the thing which you had the diaper versus nappies. Also, we had a listing which had like the braces. So braces in the US means dental braces, and braces in the UK are supporters for trousers. Now, if you search for braces in Amazon.com, you're gonna get first full page of dental products. For instance, this one. This is a top best-selling the dental braces brush and for dental brush. And these are the search terms you get. For top 20 search terms, are going to be all about dental hygiene, floss, mouthwash, all of that, except the knee brace for men and ankle brace. But the Amazon.co UK has only the pants orders, and the situation with the keyword list is this. So the blue ones are the localized ones. We still have the knee braces, but there is no dental hygiene related products found in top 20 keywords. Actually, I think it was like around 300 something that you get to see like the dental keyword as well. If you compare these two, you'll clearly see that there's nothing to do with each other. In localized keywords, what is really interesting is that the Peaky Blinders are in top search terms for this product because of the very famous TV show from the UK where it's a different time. It's like I think it's 19 beginning of the 19th century, and they all wear like these famous peaky hats and braces that say the supporters for trousers. So I guess a lot of people will search that when trying to sell this product. And then, of course, when it comes to US keywords, you'll have the Spanish keywords, which are non-usable on English marketplace. So if we were to compare, let's say, top selling products in the US with the patelet on the left, the red, orange, and yellow mean that these are the keywords on the left, which you can see down here, that these products are ranked for. So the one on the left means that it's ranked for all these keywords. And this patelet product is sold on the UK as well. This exact same product, it's on the furthest right, and it shows only green. Green means that this listing has no keywords and is not ranked for any keywords. And this is because they just took the listing on the left, which is a UKS listing, and they copy pasted to the UK marketplace with all completely non-relevant keywords. They did not optimize it. They didn't do the keyword research again. So they did not stay relevant for wherever they were the best-selling product on the US marketplace. And there are a bunch of examples that we come across when we like do production products. Lots of data, really, really interesting. But this happens more than you can think. Also, when it comes to localization, there's also a good thing when it comes to seasonal keyword planning. For instance, like for the Mother's Day, with different dates because the main date in the US is May 14th, but it's March 19th in the UK, all of that. So you really have to pay attention to all the different seasons and if certain country has an advent calendar or doesn't, because not all of the countries do. And then, of course, you have to have a hand planning for the seasonal keyword planning for the Mother's Day, just making sure all of the marketplaces do search for these terms, which varies from marketplace one for another. And it's a seasonal spike every year, which we've seen, which is good. So basically, this is how you plan the Mother's Day action plan for seasonal keyword, adding ideal for Mother's Day gifts or visual bullets, all the videos. Then you have the ranking campaigns, PPC campaigns. You can take a screenshot of this slide. It's pretty straightforward guideline to that. Next thing which leads me is to images. Images are so important. So the previous brand that we did, the Cuddle Club, which we did first listing, and then we redid images. So they had images like in English, and we just did the translation and edited the pictures in German. So what happened is that images was swapped on the 14th of January, and the results were evaluated after 2 weeks. What happened? So this is what happened. The conversion rate, the green one, went all the way up, and this is only when changing images. So always make sure to test one variable at a time so you would know what works, what doesn't work. But also, like more crazy is that the profit increased so much just because of the change that we did on images, because people read images. When you have the listing, the first thing that people see are images. So if you go to like the main images, people want to understand it. They usually want this to be in their own language. Only 50% of Europe speaks English, 50%, which means that you are targeting only every second or third consumer if you leave those images in English. And now it's possible to change all main images into local countries, languages, and I advise you to do so as soon as possible. So the conversion rate increased by 19%, profitability increased by 62%. All had amazing results across all Europe, all of the four marketplaces. Packaging also needs to be done as well. What I always recommend is just do the back of your packaging, like where the ingredients are in short description, direction, whatever you have, and to use like the peel and seal labels. So if you're selling across pan EU, just like put all the languages you want to sell in, because if you do not do that, the price will be stopped at customs and it will not reach its final destination. And a lot of people ask me what to translate. This is basically what you need to translate. And the best way to do it is just basically just, translating whatever is like back here and like with a peel and seal, as I previously mentioned. And of course, for your brand, what's important is UGC. We've had a lot of success seeing brands sell on TikTok, especially now. A lot of them use TikTok Shop as well. But when it comes to selling in different markets, it's always advised to use local influencers, especially on TikTok, because local influencers have local numbers. If you want to use or target different audiences using a US number or German number, you will be only able to target the audience in that region what your area code is in. So you can't target French people or German people from the States and vice versa. And that's why it's always great to use local influencers, wherein you can find them at Creator Marketplace. You don't have to pay for a service to connect you with the influencers. TikTok has that. It's called Creator Marketplace. And basically, there's a list of creators according to the countries where you can find them, contact them, and see what they can do for you. And new Amazon Incentives Program, which is great, and how valid for sellers want to expand to all these countries. This is free money from Amazon, and I advise you to enroll this if you already haven't. So thank you so much for staying with me till the end. This is everything what we do, and apart from what I talked about, the content optimization, we also offer Amazon Marketplace Opportunity Report, which actually shows where to sell your product next. So if you're wondering where to expand next, what's the right country for me to sell on Amazon, we have this manually done report. Takes about 2-3 days to get all the data, information, if the audience likes your products, how to beat your competitors, and a bunch of other data. So thank you so much for staying with me.